Disney News Update time, covering the Walt Disney Company's continued political nightmare as it opposes the Florida Parental Rights in Education bill. The stories keep coming, the headlines keep popping up, and we continue to share them with you. Hi everybody, Wade for the King Report, back with you once again, starting out with a story from Yahoo News. They report that more than 68% of general election voters say they are less likely to do business with Disney after reports that it plans to include sexual ideology in new content for children, a new poll found. The Trafalgar Group's new National Issues Survey on Disney, which was sponsored by the Convention of States Action, found that more than 69% of respondents said they were likely to support family-friendly alternatives to Disney. The survey comes after an executive producer admitted to advocating a, quote, not at all secret gay agenda, close quote, to insert queerness into children's animation during a Disney staff meeting on Florida's parental rights and education legislation last month. Quote, our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my, not at all secret gay agenda, said LaToya Raveneau, an executive producer for Disney Television, in a video obtained by journalist Christopher Rufo. Quote, I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness. No one would stop me, and no one was trying to stop me, close quote. The poll found 85.3% of Republicans said they are less likely to continue using Disney products, while 72.5% of independents and 48.2% of Democrats said the same. Almost 78% of Republicans, 72% of independents, and 59% of Democrats said they would support a family-friendly alternative to Disney. The poll was conducted between April 4th and April 8th among a sample of 1,079 likely general election voters and has a margin of error of plus or minus 2.99%. Disney has committed to producing more LGBTQ content following backlash from staffers over Florida's Parental Rights in Education bill, which prohibits teaching gender ideology and sexual orientation in kindergarten through third grade classrooms. After Disney CEO Bob Chapek came out against the bill, Disney employees expressed concern that overtly gay affection had been blocked by Disney content in the past. Pixar Studios reportedly restored a same-sex kiss in the film Lightyear after staff backlash to the alleged censorship of the overtly gay content. Chapek vowed to assemble a content task force to become a force for good for the LGBTQ movement. Once again, thank you to Yahoo News for that story. Continuing now, the Washington Examiner reports the following, saying that Senator Rick Scott, the former governor of Florida, railed against woke Central Disney in his latest editorial and proclaimed a boycott of its streaming service, saying, quote, I have never understood businesses that intentionally engage in partisan politics to the point that they effectively attack half of their potential customers, Scott wrote. Before becoming a senator, he also spent his years in corporate healthcare. Disney has gotten into hot water for its involvement in recent Florida legislation that bans teachers of children in the third grade and under from discussing sexual topics in any form. While the bill has received favorable support from parents, Disney came out against the law, calling for its repeal. Quote, the polling shows that fewer than 25% of Americans share the extreme views that Disney has endorsed, Scott wrote. That makes sense. Disney is mad that Florida will not allow teachers to talk to 5-year-olds about sex. Florida families couldn't disagree more, close quote. He continued by saying, maybe we should thank Disney for showing us who it really is. I'll tell you one thing, I won't be going back or watching Disney Plus anytime soon, and I bet a lot more parents and grandparents are making the same choice. As a result of the conflict between Florida legislators and Disney, some Republican lawmakers have considered an attempt to remove the Mickey Mouse copyright from the company itself. Disney has owned the copyright since its inception in 1924 and periodically renewed it without any competition. It is due to expire in 2024. Governor Ron DeSantis has toyed with the idea of eliminating Disney's self-governance in Florida. This would mean that the respective counties would regulate the park. Disney today can pursue infrastructure operations and even levy taxes entirely on its own. Once again, thank you to the Washington Examiner for that story. Moving along, Disney Fanatic reports that protesters gathered Thursday at Disneyland in California to rally against the entertainment giant's stance on the Parental Rights and Education Bill and recent reports that the company plans to expand its LGBTQ content for children. Protesters are repeatedly heard shouting, "Grooming is wrong," and "Boycott Disney," according to a video posted to Twitter. The Florida bill forbids the education of sexual orientation and gender identity in school-age children from kindergarten to grade 3, and critics have argued it will marginalize the LGBTQ community, at least according to the CBC. Disney released a statement condemning the bill, saying it should have never passed and should never have been signed into law. Disney went on to state, "Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that," close quote. They went on to apologize for their initial silence on the matter, according to the BBC. Video surfaced on Twitter in late March showing Disney officials discussing how they plan to inject more LGBTQ content into their programming. One executive producer admitted that she had a not-at-all secret gay agenda. Protesters have taken to the streets at Orlando's Walt Disney World and Walt Disney Animation Studios in California, accusing the entertainment giant of, quote, "grooming children," close quote, and pushing for a boycott of Disney, according to Inside the Magic. And finally, the New York Post reports that Cole Sprouse began acting when he was just 6 months old, but being a child actor hasn't been fun and games. Saying, quote, "When we talk about child stars going nuts, what we're not actually talking about is how fame is a trauma," Sprouse told the New York Times in a candid interview earlier this month. The 29-year-old explained his defensiveness over criticism of child actors spiraling out of control, especially those mocking the experiences of young women. Saying, quote, "The young women on Disney Channel were so heavily sexualized from such an earlier age than my brother and I that there's absolutely no way that we could compare our experiences," close quote. Sprouse, with his twin brother Dylan, gained fame on Disney Channel's The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. They began their professional acting careers as infants and turned into stars, which left them feeling burned out by 18. Cole and Dylan shared roles in Grace Under Fire and Adam Sandler's film Big Daddy. Cole can also be recognized as Ross Geller's son, Ben, on Friends. Quote, "My brother and I used to get quite a bit of, 'Oh, you made it out. Oh, you're unscathed.' No," the Riverdale actor told The Times. After graduating from New York University with a degree in archaeology, Sprouse wanted to quit the industry but promised to do one more round of auditions, and that's when he booked the role of Jughead Jones on Riverdale. Quote, "I started acting when I was so young that I hadn't actually attempted as an adult to think about it if I really enjoyed performance," Sprouse said. "To be quite honest, as I have now gone through a second big round of this fame game as an adult, I've noticed the same psychological effects that fame yields upon a group of young adults as I did when I was a child," close quote. Sprouse added he thinks people have an easier time hiding it as an adult. Once again, thanks to the New York Post for that story. And now you are up to date. For more Disney news from coast to coast and around the world, make sure you are locked onto the Kingdom Report at all times by subscribing to the channel and ensuring that notification bell is rung so that anytime a Disney news update drops, you are notified ASAP. And for far less political content, including Disney Parks news, Disney Parks tips, reviews, and a whole lot of fun in the parks themselves, make sure you check out the rest of the Kingdom Report YouTube playlists. And for the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath. We'll see you next time for another installment of the Disney News Update.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.